All right, well, thanks for agreeing to talk to me. Can you start off by telling me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do for a living?
Yes, my name is Manny Fonts, and I'm from Cape Verde Island, and I'm the owner of South Coast Painting Town.
Awesome. How long have you been living in Massachusetts?
41 years.
All right, on. And did you fish your entire life around here?
20 years fishing.
Awesome. And what do you normally fish for?
Striper, petard, black sea bass, scups.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what made you decide to get in the fishing industry?
Well, it's something that I love to do, and I was raised in Cape Verde Island fishing with my father. He owned a boat, and I fished since I was 7. Then I came to the state. Then I got into it again for like 20 years. Then now I own a bait shop.
Oh, awesome. And so we've talked before in the past about how you spend the winters in Cape Verde,
Yeah.
and so how would you compare the fishing over there to the fishing here in New England?
It's a total different type of fishing. We have it's tropical island. You know, the fish are different than the fishing here in the U.S. Here, you can fish only like during the summer through fall. Cape Verde Island, you can fish all year round. So, you know, because the weather.
Oh yeah. And so, do you think there's more fisheries management or more of a fisheries management presence over there or over here? You say?
Not here.
Here for sure.
Yeah.
And do you think management in this region for recreational fisheries does a pretty good job, or do you think there's any areas for improvement that you see in the current regulatory landscape?
I think they do a good job. They do a good job, but some people don't follow the rules. You know, and this is the reason why you have all the, you know, the people going out there and don't obey the rules and kill the fish or take the fish. You know, that is illegal. You know what I mean? But you know, they do a good job by, you know, put the regulation out there for everybody to follow. You know?
Oh, gotcha. Do you think like the non-compliance issue is like a big problem, or is it just like a handful of people?
Yeah, it's a big problem.
Do you think there's any species or like types of fishing where it's worse for?
Yeah, I would say like striper. You know what I mean? Striper fishing, and what else? Like black sea bass.
Oh yeah.
Because it's a good fish, so now everybody wants to, you know, they don't want to obey the rules, and they want to catch, you know, on the size and try to bring it home. You know what I mean? Every time you do that, you know, you're killing the species, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I imagine the fact that it's harder to catch legal sized sea bass from shore compared to other species makes that worse compared to something like a scup, where if anything, it feels like the average when you catch from shore is still a keeper.
Right.
Yeah. So do you think that like for black sea bass, for instance, there's not a ton of agreement at times between what Massachusetts and Rhode Island does? Like for instance, like in Rhode Island, it's still open, whereas in Massachusetts it's been closed since Labor Day. Do you think there's a good reason for that, or do you think that there should be more agreement between neighboring states in terms of fishing regulations?
They should be the same. You know what I mean? I think. What do you think?
Yeah, for a situation like Massachusetts versus Rhode Island, it's pretty hard to argue that there's a large difference in what's going on, given how close states are to each other, and especially since the sea bass are not very common north of the Cape.
Right.
And so, yeah, that's been something that there's been a lot of talk about in fishery management circles, because historically there weren't, as you may have observed over the years, there weren't as many sea bass up here. And then in recent years there have been more and more in the northern region and fewer in the southern region, but then the regulations haven't really changed to reflect the increased abundance of sea bass up here. And so managers are still trying to figure out what to do about it, because they think that it might be mediated by climate change or the ocean just getting warmer and kind of allowing for a lot of these more southern species to be more common up here, like fluke, or like there seems like last couple of years there have been a few tarpon caught around here. So do you think like climate change or warming oceans is really having an effect, or is this sort of you think it's more of a natural cycle that's harder to?
I think it has something to do with climate change. And not only that, I'm against the one thing that I don't know if you agree with me, but the windmill. I'm against that.
Oh yeah, okay, why is that? I don't really have a strong opinion about the windmills, but
I mean, it doesn't belong in the ocean. You know what I mean? It doesn't belong there. So I don't know. I'm not an engineer or scientist or whatever, but I know that the radiation, you know what I mean, will cause some kind of effect with fish and stuff. Think about it. In order for them to install that, they have to either drill something or put something in the ocean, right? So whatever species that were there, they're not there anymore. They moved to another spot. Now they're gonna die, right? Because that's not their home. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, I get you. But do you think they can like help attract certain types of fish too? Like it seemed like last summer, my friends and I went out, and it seemed like the mahi were like in a congregate around the windmills. Yeah, we caught like 10 of those off of one.
Yeah,
of the
but they don't
block
belong around here. Mahi don't belong in Massachusetts.
So you think just the warmer waters have also led to this?
Right, yeah. But it's not just here in Massachusetts that have a windmill in the ocean. It's all over the place. You know what I mean? So I'm against it. You know what I mean? I think that that we shouldn't put nothing like that in the ocean, period. You should have it, like, I'm from Cape Island, and we have windmills, but we have it up in the mountains, not in the ocean. We have plenty space that we can put, windmills, but they choose to put them up on a mountain because they don't want to kill, the fish. They don't want to kill all the species where we have in the water. You know what I mean? So I'm against that one.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I respect that. Yeah, a lot of folks at UMass Dartmouth right now, a lot of the scientists there are trying to study the effects that the windmills are having, because there's just such a complex ecosystem out there, and people aren't sure what the effects are going to be. And because right now, some preliminary results are already suggesting different things. Like for one study is suggesting that they may increase larval retention, that like it may allow the larvae to have a better chance of survival when there's more structure around the fish. But then another study suggested that the pile driving is bad for scallop physiology, and it may affect some other.
That's what I wanted to tell you. Yeah.
So it is. Yeah, it is a tricky issue for sure, because it definitely seems like they're really just building a ton of them out there, especially in certain areas like out like past Martha's or Block. Of course, it seems like they're kind of everywhere.
Yep. Well, not only that, you gotta understand that when the pile drive are there, pounding, that I used to work in construction. I know what they do with the pile drive. There's grease, there's oil, you know what I mean? That falls in the water. Do you think they have time to go clean that? They don't.
Probably.
No, they don't. So, all that stuff will affect, fish. I had a fish before, a striper, that I caught. It tastes like oil.
Huh.
Why is that? Because, all this stuff is going on in the water. You know what I mean? So, I'm just against that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, was that striper kind of like caught like close to a wind farm area, or was it caught more around here? Or?
Well, it was near Martha's Vineyard. Okay. Gay Head, that's Martha's Vineyard. So that's where I was fishing, and that fish didn't taste right. You know what I mean? Striper shouldn't taste like gasoline or like oil. So, or around here, yes, around here, whatever you catch, it's contaminated. You know what I mean?
But you not keep anything around here?
No, I don't fish around here. If I fish, I just let it go. I usually go out, and fish. But listen, I love to fish, and if everybody respect the ocean, because the ocean is what keeps us alive. You know what I mean? So everything comes from the ocean. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Most of the stuff comes from the ocean. So if every time someone catch a fish and put them back, you know what I mean? The illegal size, you put them back, we're gonna have more fish for many, many, many years to come. But if every time you take a fish that's undersized, you bring it home, you know what I mean? That fish could probably produce 10,000 fish if they lay eggs, you know? But a lot of people don't respect that. They don't care. People throwing trash in the water, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not just us, fishermen too. You know what I mean? It's not just me and you that's going out there to fish, you know, for a scup or whatever, that's throwing paper bag or whatever in the water. They do illegal dumping, you know. The fishermen does that. They do illegal dumping in the water. And this is the water that's feeding them their family, but they don't respect the ocean.
Yeah, no, yeah, because everything all of us do has an impact, and it seems like a lot of fishermen think it's like, oh, it's just me with my one rod, just keeping one fish. It's not going to have an impact. When you think about the hundreds of thousands of fishermen around the country that are doing that every day,
Every day, right?
yeah, definitely, and especially like for some species like striper, where I think as up to almost 90% of all removals are estimated to be from recreational fishermen, and then about 50% of that are just or more just from recreational discard mortality, just the fish dying once they're tossed back.
Yeah. Another thing that I noticed about regulation, the rules should apply for everybody, right? Okay. I don't understand it, but if a striped bass is supposed to be 28 the slot, 28.31 for me and you, right? So if you're a commercial fisherman, right?
Yeah, 35 and up.
35 and up. But where is this fish coming from there? If I go to Shaw's or Stop and Shop or Market Basket, find a striper about 15 inch, where are those fish coming from? How do they catch those fish?
Maybe from Maryland.
Okay, but this is what I'm saying. The rules should apply to everybody.
Yeah, Maryland definitely seems to be on their own program, and
Right.
you hear a lot of crazy stories about like the fishing guides there trying to take calls for restrictive regulations up to the Supreme Court, trying to fight them all the way over there. And of course, the Supreme Court's like, no, this is nonsense. We're not going to waste time on this. And yeah, there's picked up a lot of resentment from striper fishermen and other areas of the coast that Maryland isn't kind of agreeing with what everyone else is doing, particularly given that like the Chesapeake's such an important spawning area. About 80% of all the striper on the Atlantic coast just come from the Chesapeake system, and there's been have you heard of all the recruitment failure that's been going on there, where like the juveniles haven't been surviving well, and they believe it's environmentally mediated. So
smart. So that's one of the things that I disagree with the rules and regulation, because it should apply for everybody. You know, even not just striped bass. There's other fish that I think they should have some type of rules that you can't catch so many of them. Like scups.
oh, yeah, very generous bag limit for scup for sure. Yeah.
You know, and I don't know, but I know that there's people out there that if you're allowed to catch 30 fish, right? They're not catching 30 fish, they're catching 100 fish. Okay? And I think if they keep doing that over the years, because there's a lot of fishermen out there catching scups, then we're not gonna have scup very soon. I'm from Cape Red Island. I'm gonna tell you one thing very quick. Cape Red Island gave the Chinese 20 years. They made a contract, give them 20 years to fish in our ocean, right? We, as a fisherman, we used to catch tuna, mahi-mahi, you name it, real close to the shore, okay? we had no problem. Fish everywhere. Everybody can catch fish. So Chinese went out there with the net, whatever. They wiped everything out. They catch every little piece of fish, or whatever. It could be like 1 inch. They'll take it, and that's not cool. So we don't have regulation there. That's the reason why they do that. But here in the U.S., we do have regulation. It's just it only applies to some people. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, exactly. So you think enforcement should be better around here?
Yes, it should be a little bit better. I mean, I like the way, like people know that if you catch a striper that's undersized, you can get a fine or end up in jail. But they should do better. They should have more law enforcement on the water because they don't have many. And when the people are fishing out there, they're breaking the rules almost every day. I seen it with my own eyes. I drove down Fort Haven. I seen guys catching a small fish. You know what I mean? And put it in the bag and hide it. I'm not a police officer. I'm not. Yes.
Yeah, I've seen multiple like at that bridge around here. I've seen multiple carcasses of filleted striper that were like this big.
See?
Yeah, it's
That's
an
not
issue.
good.
And those are the kind of spots where it's like you were saying, there's too few game wardens, and they're stretched so thinly across the state. They're not going to check some random bridge that not a lot of people fish. They're just going to be focusing their attention around like say piers or boat docks, especially. Yeah. Even if you ask me, potentially like not like dedicating their resources to the right areas. I would even say like they're checking licenses on people that have like $300,000 boats. Like of course those guys are also going to buy like a fishing license and stuff. It's definitely
yeah. So I mean, I think it's going to get better. You know what I mean? It's going to get better, but there's more that needs to be done.
Do you think there's more education that should be done? Like, do you think a lot of people are like unaware of regulations, or they're choosing?
Yes, a lot of people don't know any better. The reason why I'm saying this is because they come here, they ask me, hey, what's the size on striper? What's the size on this and that? Sometimes I give them the brochure and I show it to them. I show them the size, especially the Spanish people. They don't know any better because in their country they don't have regulation, So I try to teach them that if you catch this type of fish, you should let them go because it's not the size. And like let's say striper, a lot of them they show me picture that they had 3 or 4 stripers. You only allowed to catch one. You see, so people don't talk about fishing that much on TV. They should have some kind of channel or whatever to like educate people that likes to go fishing. Tell them, listen, you're not supposed to catch this fish, on this size. You're supposed to catch it. It has to be 31 inch or whatever and up. So if you put them on TV, they'll know. But if they just word of mouth, sometimes they don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I even thought the way about like the signs like saying don't eat fish from the harbor. A lot of them are only in English.
Yeah, and if you're Spanish or whatever Haitian, you don't know how to read it. How you gonna know what it says?
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's it.
All right, great. Yeah, well, thanks for talking to me about
no
all this
problem,
stuff.
man.
Appreciate it.